Trump acknowledges markets were pretty glum, but says bond market now looks beautiful. Well, that's good. We're still at minus 3.6% from the 2nd of April. Yeah, but even if we go up beyond that point, it doesn't really change the fact that all of this is just predatory speculation floating on top of the real economy, and the real economy is still going to be hurt by this. How does any of this improve, like, job numbers for the average American? How does any of this, like, get lower prices or higher wages? Like, none of that. It's totally disconnected from the shit that people actually need. Oil got cheaper. I think oil prices went up a little bit as a consequence of the numbers rebounding. Hold on. Oil, last time I heard they were at 62, but they were down to like 57 for a bit. Where are they right now? Yeah, 62, I think. 62? Yeah, crude oil is at 62 right now. But for a while, it was looking pretty dang low. 62, by the way, is still way, way, way too low. That's not, I think that's like not profitable for a lot of our extraction and refining, you know? I think that's too low. OPEC based. Please God, please Allah, Saudi Arabia, do it. Press the button. Uncork all of the wells, all right? Bring it down to $30 a barrel or something. 60 for fracking as of 2 years ago. Damn, fracking's expensive. And Trump wants to unleash American oil and push it down below a profitable threshold for the main new way we get at least natural gas? I don't know. Then there's the Iran invasion looming over our heads. That's true. But I'm ready for that one. This is pissing me off. Why are Democrats defending tariffs when public opinion is turning against tariffs so aggressively? Can I find this? 1 second. Whitmer and Gretchen Carlson. Oh, Gretchen Whitmer and Gretchen Carlson? Huh. Is this yeah, 3 hours ago.
Well, thanks so much for being here today. It's my honor to be up on the stage as well. We're going to tackle tariffs, and we're going to talk about...
Okay, this is a longer interview. Maybe I'll just get the quotes from I don't know if I want to watch a 26-minute video. Just so people in chat can be like, wow, Gretchen Whitmer sure is pretty. You motherfuckers need to jerk off before you watch stream, okay? I'm preempting. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer delivered a speech emphasizing points of agreement with Trump on economic policy. Ugh. Consequence of listening to Michigan-based consultants. Just hours before their scheduled meeting, a reflection of the high-profile Democrats' more diplomatic approach towards the president as her party ramps up its attacks on him. Framed by Whitmer as a blueprint for success, her lengthy Build America Build address called for bipartisan cooperation to boost American manufacturing. Dude, I might be getting disillusioned with the Midwestern Democrats. It's nice that they're like militantly progressive in some avenues. You have to stop pretending you're going to bring back manufacturing. Stop. 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 Please stop doing this, man. Why are you both siding tariffs when, like, American opinion against tariffs is decreasing moment after moment? Why can't you, like, jump in on the unpopularity? Go after Trump. This is a really good time to do it. While she offered soft criticism of the president, she also underscored shared priorities. Ugh. I understand the motivation behind the tariffs, and I can tell you, here's where Trump and I do agree. We do need to make more stuff in America, said Whitmer before adding, I'm not against tariffs outright, but it's a blunt tool. Why? Why? You can't just pull out the tariff hammer to swing at every problem without a clear defined end goal. Why do you have to hedge? Why do you have to hedge? It's because they can't criticize the last 3 Dem presidents for some reason. It's partly that, and it's partly because they're also just like slaves to the narrative, right? It's like how in Philadelphia, everyone has to be pro-fracking. Even Democrats have to be pro-fracking. That's why Kamala Harris said she was opposed to fracking back in the 2020 primaries, and then that was like a big weakness for her, apparently, when campaigning for the presidency, and she had to say to Pennsylvanians, no, I am not anti-fracking, because there were like 5 people in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania who work in God help me, please God. God, spare me from this moment. Strike me with a lightning bolt so I may stop misspeaking for eternity. Pennsylvania. They should not have put Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. They're too similar. They're kind of like the same length. Word-wise, how many people work in fracking 19,400 direct and indirect jobs. And indirect jobs. Just 0.32% of the 6 million jobs in Pennsylvania. Nothing. 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 Nobody. But they treat it like it's the entire economy. Fracking is a massive industry in Pennsylvania. It's like being against oil in West Texas, you just lose. It's not a massive industry. It's not a huge number of people working here. The idea that you have to bend the knee to fracking because 0.32% of the state works in that field, direct and indirect. But meanwhile, you can turn your backs on regular retail workers all the time, even though that's like millions of workers. What percent of Pennsylvania's GDP is fracking? The oil and gas industry contributed combined to 1.3% of Pennsylvania's GDP and accounted apparently for just 0.1% of wages and benefits for workers in 2022. 0.1% of wages and benefits for workers in 2022. These aren't even good paying jobs. But to fracking, we must capitulate everything. Everything must be sacrificed on the altar of fracking. It's like coal in West Virginia. Look, Pennsylvania is right here just below Texas, and it's still that little. It's less so raw matters, that number, but public attitude. Yeah, but the public attitude is created by corporations and backed by the politicians. That's the point. Like, again, people don't have this opinion for no reason. The public perception that fracking is vital to the economy of Pennsylvania is constructed. And Democrat politicians contribute to it by treating it like this inviolable subject. Same with coal in West Virginia, oil in Texas. So it's an extension of Democrat spinelessness to accept the narrative rather than challenging it? Yeah, 100%. Anyway, it's the exact same thing with Gretchen Whitmer and manufacturing. Exact same thing. Just let this play while I look up the numbers.
Governor's bipartisan.
Not encouraging you to adopt that, but it's worked for me. But yeah, now I like it because it's kind of nice to have a different name.
I was envious of you because you did have a cool nickname, Big Gretch, and your book, True Gretch. So you have two of them. So in your speech, you reminded us that 20% of Michigan's economy is tied to the auto industry. And of course, you're home to the biggest international border crossing in America. Today, the hatchet came down with Trump's tariffs. And quite honestly, they're going to hit your state harder than most.
Home to over 600,000 manufacturing workers employed by more than 12,000 companies, Michigan has more manufacturing workers now than it did back in 2015. So what are we trying to, like... It seems like we've stemmed the tide. Whatever level of manufacturing we have in Michigan, it seems like it's holding more or less steady. Like we've leveled off, essentially. We're not talking about like the Rust Belt sell-off or whatever. It seems like things are more or less coming to a neutral economic equilibrium. How many manufacturing jobs do we need in Michigan? Like, what's the right number?
You mentioned that Trump's using...
Also, this audio sucks. Whatever. I just can't stand the selective deference to tariffs as a legitimate economic strategy when they're almost always a bad idea, with very few exceptions.